It's happened to most of you when you sent crypto to the wrong address. Either you've sent it to an address that doesn't exist, or you've sent it to somebody else that you weren't supposed to send it to, or you've sent the wrong type of crypto to the wrong type of address. You've sent Bitcoin to Litecoin, you've sent Ethereum to Bitcoin, etc. And one thing about these transactions is that once they're executed, they're non-reversible. There are some massive transactions that have been reversed, but what they've done is broken the fundamental rules of cryptocurrencies, which basically was to fork the blockchain and basically carry on a different path. Is how Ethereum Classic happened. A lot of things have happened this way, but fundamentally that's one of the big problems when it comes to cryptocurrencies, is that people have lost a lot of money just basically transferring crypto to the wrong address. I've done it before. Thankfully, it was a little amount, and I always test an address before I send something to it, just to make sure that point A to point B is perfectly fine. Costs a little bit of money, but I do it first. Just that's just the way I do it. Most people that only trade on centralized exchanges probably don't experience this. You can still experience it if you try to send crypto to a wallet on a centralized exchange, or you try to send crypto from a wallet on a centralized exchange, or even another wallet on another centralized exchange. So this is a big problem with all cryptos. One that is specific to Ethereum, of course, is the gas fees. Again, you don't usually deal with gas fees on centralized exchanges, but if you self-custody your wallets or you're dealing with DeFi, you end up paying a lot of gas fees. It's really, really super efficient. So these two problems are addressed in Ethereum's latest update to their token. It's called the ERC-223. Now, it's not made news, or it hasn't made a big fanfare or anything, but I think that this is a huge update that's going to have a massive impact on Ethereum, especially when it comes to mass adoption. One of the things that scares a lot of people away from cryptocurrencies is this aspect of completely losing your money permanently just by doing one transfer to the wrong address. The address could be wrong by just one digit, and there's no recourse. Some centralized exchanges try to do tests, to do checks, but all they can do is tell you that this is a valid address on a valid network. They can't tell you that this is actually going to where you want it to go. So that's still a problem. So with ERC-223, what it does is it adds a communication layer onto the protocol. Again, it's kind of a geeky update. Most people won't care about this, but the impact of it is what matters, right? So what it does is when you send a token from one address to the other, it adds a verification or notification on the recipient side. Also, a lot of the technical stuff is dealt with on the recipient side, which is where the gas efficiency comes in. I'll leave a link to this if you're interested in technical details, but basically what this does is at least make sure that the address that you're sending your tokens to exists. This standard introduces communication model by enforcing the transfer to execute a handler function in the destination address. This is an important security consideration, as it is required that the receiver explicitly implements the token handling function. In cases where the receiver does not implement such functions, the transfer must be reverted. I'll leave a link to this document in the description section if you're interested in reading all the geeky details. But the long and short of it is that Ethereum will be implementing a verification process when you're transferring your tokens. Now, this is a net positive, of course, but if you ask me, there are some issues that people might not like about this. First of all, it takes a little bit away from the whole sort of send and disappear aspect of cryptocurrencies that people are really into. It also adds a kind of data collection aspect to the recipient that some people might not be happy, because this is kind of a slippery slope. I mean, what's the next update after this? Is it going to implement a physical address? Are we going to have phone numbers and email addresses implemented into the token transfer system? For instance, is there going to be inbuilt KYC requirements into wallets in the future updates? Just people don't like change. If something already works perfectly, some people don't like it changed, even though it resolves some fundamental problems with Ethereum. People don't like change in the cryptocurrency world. Some changes are slippery slopes that could have undesired results if followed to their logical conclusion. Now look at this. Of course, the price of Ethereum is just behaving the same as everything else. It's made no kind of dent, or generally in the last 7 days, Ethereum has been trending up much like anything else, basically following Bitcoin around. This dip right here was basically as a result of Bitcoin dipping following the SEC asking BlackRock to refile their ETF, but then it came right back up and it's back on schedule. In fact, it did way better than Bitcoin did, bouncing right back and past where it was before as people used that opportunity to buy the dip. And as you can see, Ethereum is rising slowly like everything else on the way to the moon. Take care of yourself. I'll see you in the next video.